Welcome back, everyone, to the Paranormal Inc. Ohio podcast. I'm your host, Ed, and tonight we're diving into the world's oldest and most chilling urban legends, the legend of the Phantom Hitchhiker. Imagine driving down a lonely road late at night. It's raining, the fog hangs low over the pavement, and the only sounds are your tires rolling across the asphalt. Then you see someone, a young woman, a soldier, an old man, standing alone on the shoulder of the road. You pull over. They quietly climb into your vehicle. They tell you where they're headed, but before you arrive, they simply disappear. No door opens, no sound, no explanation. Just gone. Stories like these have been reported for centuries from nearly every corner of the world. Some people believe these mysterious travelers are ghosts trying to return home one final time. Others believe their residual hauntings, echoes of a tragic death replaying forever. Skeptics say there are logical explanations for these. But after hearing tonight's stories, I'll let you decide. So dim the lights, lock the doors, and settle in. This is the Phantom Hitchhikers. Where did this legend begin? The Phantom Hitchhiker, also known as the Vanishing Hitchhiker, is one of the oldest and most widespread ghost stories ever recorded. Versions of this tale exist across North America, Europe, Asia, and even South America. Despite cultural differences, the story almost always follows the same pattern. A driver is traveling alone late at night. They encounter someone walking beside the road. Feeling sympathy, they offer them a ride. The passenger is quiet. Sometimes they're cold. Sometimes they're soaking wet from the rain. Sometimes they never speak at all. The driver reaches the destination, turns around, and the passenger has vanished. No open door, no footprints, nothing. Only later does the driver discover something terrifying. The person they picked up had died years ago. Why are these stories so similar? Folklorists have collected thousands of versions of this legend. Some date back hundreds of years, long before automobiles existed. Instead of hitchhikers, travelers on horseback reported mysterious strangers appearing on lonely roads before vanishing into thin air. As transportation changed, so did the legend. Horseback became wagons, wagons became automobiles, but the ghost never changed. A road at night. There is something unsettling about driving after dark. The farther you travel from towns and cities, the quieter everything becomes. Street lights disappear, cell service fades, the only light comes from your headlights. Every shadow begins to look like a person. Every tree becomes a silhouette. Every movement catches your attention. Our brains naturally search for human shapes in the darkness. Some psychologists believe this contributes to Phantom Hitchhiker reports. Others argue it doesn't explain why so many witnesses tell nearly identical stories. The first report. One of the earliest recorded versions comes from the 1800s. Travelers claimed to encounter young women walking alone after dark. They appeared frightened, sometimes crying, sometimes asking to be taken home. After arriving, they vanished. When drivers knocked on the family's door, the parents would answer with tears in their eyes. Our daughter died years ago. In many versions, the family would even produce a photograph. The driver immediately recognizes the face. It was the same person who had been sitting beside them only minutes earlier. Why would ghosts hitchhike? Paranormal investigators have proposed several theories. Some believe these spirits never realize they're dead. Others believe they are trying to finish the final journey. A trip home, a visit to a loved one, or perhaps a final goodbye. Another theory suggests these are residual hauntings, like an old recording playing over and over again. The spirit isn't interacting with anyone. It's simply repeating the last moments forever. The emotional connection. Many Phantom Hitchhiker stories share something unexpected. The ghost doesn't appear angry, it doesn't attack, it doesn't threaten anyone. Instead, witnesses often describe the passenger as sad, quiet, lost. Almost as if they were searching for something they can never find. That emotional element is one reason these stories have endured for generations. They're frightening, but they're also tragic. Coming up, we'll explore some of the most famous Phantom Hitchhiker cases ever reported, including the legendary Resurrection Mary, mysterious encounters along Archer Avenue, and other chilling accounts from around the world. We'll also examine reported witnesses' experiences and why these stories continue to fascinate paranormal investigators today. The encounters. If you're just joining us, tonight we're exploring one of the most enduring paranormal legends ever told, the Phantom Hitchhiker. These are the stories that have inspired books, documentaries, and countless late-night conversations. While none of these accounts can be independently proven as paranormal, they have become some of the best-known ghost stories in the world. Let's begin with perhaps the most famous Phantom Hitchhiker of them all, Resurrection Mary. Just southwest of Chicago lies a stretch of road known as Archer Avenue. For decades, drivers have reported seeing a beautiful young blonde woman standing along this roadside, usually dressed in a white dress or light-colored clothing. Many say she quietly asks for a ride. She speaks politely. Sometimes it says she's coming home from a dance. Other times she simply gives an address. Witnesses say she appears completely normal until the car approaches the entrance to the Resurrection Cemetery. Then she disappears. No sound, no door opening, nothing. Some drivers have claimed they looked away for only a second before realizing the passenger was gone. Others stopped their vehicles immediately, believing she had somehow climbed out, but every door remained locked. Now let's talk about the Jerry Paulus story. One of the most famous reported encounters came from a man named Jerry Paulus. According to his account, he picked up a young woman after seeing her walking near Archer Avenue late one night. She was quiet during the drive. As they approached Resurrection Cemetery, she vanished from the passenger seat. Years later, Jerry reportedly returned to the cemetery and claimed he recognized the same young woman in an old photograph displayed there. Whether the story is literally true remains debated, but it became one of the most influential versions of the Resurrection Mary and helped spread the tale across the country. Strange reports. Over the years, witnesses have described remarkably similar details. They often report a young blonde woman, a white dress, bare feet or dancing shoes, quiet behavior, a suddenly disappearance near the cemetery. Some have even claimed the cemetery gates showed mysterious bent bars, fueling rumors that Mary had physically touched them. No definitive evidence has ever confirmed those claims, but the stories continue to circulate. Bluebell Hill Ghost. Across the Atlantic, another famous Phantom Hitchhiker is said to haunt Bluebell Hill in Kent, England. The road has been associated with numerous fatal accidents over the years. Drivers have reported seeing a young woman suddenly appear in front of their cars. Don't know why I said cars. Many slam on the brakes, convinced they've struck her. They jump out, search the roadside, call police, only to find absolutely no one there. Others report picking up a young woman who quietly asks to be taken home. Before reaching the destination, she simply vanishes. Local residents have shared these stories for generations, making Bluebell Hill one of England's most famous haunted roads. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. The fascinating part is nearly every country seems to have its own version. Sometimes it's a young soldier trying to return home. Sometimes it's a bride killed on her wedding day. Sometimes it's a child. The details change, but the ending rarely does. The passenger disappears before reaching their destination. Later, the driver learns the passenger has died years earlier. Many witnesses describe something they can't explain. Some say the passenger felt unusually cold. Others noticed there was no reflection in the mirror. Several reported that conversation suddenly stopped, only to discover the seat beside them was empty. A few witnesses even claimed they found damp footprints on the floorboard after the passenger vanished. Could these details be product of a frightened mind, or do they point to something beyond our understanding? No one knows. Why do these stories feel so real? Paranormal researchers believe the consistency is remarkable. People from different countries, different cultures, different generations describe almost identical encounters. Skeptics, however, argue that once a story becomes well known, later witnesses may unconsciously shape their memories to fit the legend. Psychologists also point to the nighttime driving fatigue, poor visibility, and the human tendency to interpret ambiguous sights as familiar figures. Even so, some eyewitnesses remain adamant that what they experienced cannot be explained away. Next, we'll explore the theories behind these chilling encounters. Are Phantom Hitchhikers truly restless spirits, residual hauntings replaying a tragic final journey, guardian angels, or simply one of humanity's greatest and most persistent urban legends? We'll also wrap up with my own thoughts and leave you with one final question. If you're driving alone tonight and someone standing beside the road silently raised their thumb, would you stop? Tonight we've traveled lonely highways, listened to chilling eyewitness reports, and explored one of the oldest ghost stories ever told. Now comes the question everyone asks. What are people really seeing? The first theory is restless spirits. Many paranormal investigators believe phantom hitchhikers are the spirits of people who died suddenly and tragically. Perhaps they were killed in a car accident, perhaps they never made it home. Some believe these souls are trapped forever, repeating their final journey. If that's true, it would explain why so many sightings occur on the same stretches of road year after year. The spirit isn't trying to scare anyone, it's simply reliving the last moments. The second theory is residual hauntings. Another popular theory is known as a residual haunting. Think of it like an old movie recorded onto the environment itself. A traumatic event leaves behind an imprint. Under the right conditions, that imprint plays back. In this theory, the ghost isn't aware of you. It isn't interacting with you. You're simply witnessing an echo from the past. Could the Phantom Hitchhiker be one of those echoes? Some investigators believe so. The third theory is intelligent spirits. Others believe these encounters involve spirits that are fully aware. These entities may choose who can see them. Some witnesses have reported carrying on full conversations with their mysterious assignments. The ghost answers questions, gives directions, even thanks the driver. Then, without warning, they're gone. If those accounts are true, it suggests something far more mysterious than a simple replay of history. Some skeptical explanations, of course. Not everyone believes these stories have a paranormal cause. Psychologists suggest the late night driving can create perfect conditions for misperceptions, fatigue, fog, rain, long stretches of empty road. Our brains naturally try to recognize faces and human figures even when none are there. Memory can also play tricks on us. Over time, a strange experience can become even stranger as details are unintentionally added or reshaped. That doesn't mean witnesses are lying, it simply means our minds don't always record events perfectly. Why the legend lives on. Whether these stories are supernatural or psychological, they continue to be told for one simple reason. They resonate with us. Most ghost stories are about fear. The Phantom Hitchhiker is often about unfinished business. A daughter trying to return home, a soldier trying to see his family one last time, a traveler who never reached their destination. There's something deeply human about these stories. Maybe that's why they've survived for centuries. Here's one final story. Imagine this. It's nearly midnight. You're driving home after a long day. The rain taps against your windshield. Your headlights cut through the darkness. Then you see someone. A young woman standing alone. She's soaked from the rain. She doesn't wave. She simply watches your car approach. You slow down, roll down your window. Are you okay? She quietly nods. You unlock the passenger door. She climbs inside. Her clothes are dripping wet, yet somehow the seat never gets wet. She tells you an address only a few miles away. The drive is silent. As you turn onto the final street, you glance toward the passenger seat. It's empty. Confused, you stop at the address anyway. An elderly woman answers the door. You explain that you picked up a young woman who asked to come here. The woman's face turns pale. She disappears inside the house and returns holding an old photograph. "This is my daughter," she says softly. "She was killed in a car accident 20 years ago, on the very road where you found her." The woman quietly closes the door. You're left standing there, holding a jacket that no one can explain. Did it really happen, or is it simply another legend? You decide that. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Paranormal Inc. Ohio podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow the show on your favorite podcast platform. Share it with anyone who loves the strange and unexplained, and leave a review, a comment. It really helps the podcast grow. And there's a question for all of you. Have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain while driving alone at night? If so, I'd love to hear your story. I would love to feature it in a future episode. And here's a bonus. I have some more stories for you from around the world. Before I close tonight's episode, I wanted to leave you with a few more reported encounters from around the world. Whether you believe these stories are paranormal, folklore, or simply cautionary tales, they've been passed down for decades, and in some cases, centuries. Let's take one first drive into the unknown. The soldier on the highway. In the years following World War II, truck drivers across parts of Europe told similar stories. Late at night, they'd see a young soldier standing alone beside the road, wearing an old military uniform. He'd ask for a ride to a nearby village. During the drive, he would speak about wanting to see his mother one last time. As the truck approached the village, the soldier would disappear. When the driver knocked on the family's door and described the young man, the mother would quietly say, "My son never came home from the war." Some versions of this story claim she would show the driver a photograph, and it was the same young soldier they just picked up. Here's the second story. The bride in white. In several countries, there are legends of a young bride killed on her wedding day. Drivers report seeing a woman in a white gown standing near lonely country roads. She enters the car without saying much. Sometimes she asks to be taken to a church, sometimes to a family home. Before the destination is reached, she vanishes. Many believe she is forever trying to complete the journey she never got to finish. Our third story is the little girl. One of the saddest Phantom Hitchhiker legends involves a little girl carrying a stuffed animal. Drivers say she appears frightened and alone. She quietly asks if they can take her home. When they arrive, she's gone. The family at the house tells the driver their daughter died years earlier in a tragic accident. Whether true or not, stories like these continue to surface in the different parts of the world. Why these stories endure? What's fascinating is that these legends existed long before the internet. People living thousands of miles apart described eerily similar experiences. Is it because ghost stories naturally evolve in the same way? Or could there be something happening on lonely roads that we simply don't understand? No one has the answer. One last thought. The next time you're driving home late at night and your headlights catch the silhouette and outline of someone standing alone, ask yourself one question. Would you stop? Most of us like to believe we would help someone in need, but after hearing tonight's stories, you might think twice before unlocking the passenger door. So again, I want to thank you for spending part of your evening with me here on the Paranormal Inc. Ohio podcast. If you have your own paranormal encounter, urban legend, or ghost story, again, I would love to hear it, and I would love to feature it in a future episode. Next time, we'll dive into another mystery that blurs the line between folklore and reality. Until then, keep your eyes on the shadows, listen to the silence, and if someone asks for a ride on a deserted road after midnight, just remember, some passengers never leave. Good night, everyone, and I hope you all enjoyed the episode. I love each and every single one of you.